We are live. Feels good to be back. Another episode of the Inner Circle podcast. Oh man, I had such a long day. It's my son's birthday was on the 14th. And the last time I took him to SeaWorld, he was small. So I don't know if he remembered that 5, which just feels like time flies. Because I remember having my kid right around when I started this podcast. So it's just funny that you guys have been with me as long as he's been growing. And we go to SeaWorld today. He's kind of like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I want to go. Da, da, da. We get there. This kid is just blown. You know, he's seeing everything. He's seeing alligators. He's seeing ducks. He's seeing whales. There's and it's like a Christmas themed thing going on. So they got Christmas trees and they got the lights going on. They got like trains. It's just crazy stuff. And they had some really great shows. He had a good time, man. But we got there like 12. And, being around thousands of people all day, it's not easy, man. But I had a lot of fun, great time with the family, and I hope he enjoyed himself. I'm sure he did. He's knocked out. Like he was knocked out in that car on the way home. So that's a good thing. Listen, this episode is going to be kind of like a year review. We're going to talk about Microsoft. We're going to talk about Xbox. We're going to talk about their future. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of 2017. And I want to talk a little bit about PUBG, the reception that it's received, the way some fanboys have tried to crap on it, and can do in the future for 2018 to fix some of the things I think that they've done in 2017. And we'll finish off the year with a Q&A. So we'll try to make this show about 30 to 40 minutes to kind of knock out our topics as fast as possible to try to answer any questions for the guys that are coming out to support and hang out with us on the final episode of Tick Podcast for 2018. B Money's in the building. The Trinity is here. Let's get this show started and rolling. To go ahead and tweet it out, and we should be good. B, how's things with you?
Yo, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, everything's good. Just been running around. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yeah. Just been running around, man, trying to, do all these holiday things, holiday concerts and whatnot for the kids. So, getting in that Christmas spirit, man. So, just been crazy busy, but last show of the year, so I had to be here for this. I'm glad to be here. You know what I mean?
Right. Man, it's definitely been a crazy couple of months for gaming this year. Big year for Sony, I must admit. Hell of a year for Sony. And looked like it's hopefully 2018 will be an improved year for Microsoft and the Xbox fans all around, those who may have felt slighted or disappointed in this year. All the fanboys that have gripes with Microsoft, I think they'll be way more impressed with 2018 than 2017. But it hasn't been that bad of a year. Listen, let me not say that it hasn't been that bad a year. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. Microsoft it's been a bad year. But I do think that they recovered well. I will say that. I think they recovered at the end pretty well, regardless of what people may think. And we'll definitely discuss it. We'll talk about that. Facebook, and we'll get the show started. All right. And here we go. Welcome to the Inner Circle Podcast, the premier podcast for Xbox One. I'm your host, KORS Keller, with B Money 101.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Man V.
Hey, everybody. I'm ready to start.
And we are your Inner Circle Podcast. So listen, man, Microsoft obviously had a terrible year. It really started out going into from 2016, which I thought was a great year for Microsoft. Going into 2017 to be like a great year for Microsoft because of the simple fact that we go back, you think about 2016. 2016, we just saw Gamescom at the thing. We saw some gameplay of Scalebound. We saw Crackdown. They had just announced Scorpio, Xbox One S. Microsoft was on fire in 2016. Earlier on that year, they had a few games released, nothing too special, but they had some like early access games drop. They had some betas drop. They had some, obviously third parties always dropping, whatever. A few indie titles drop, nothing too major, but then came around all of their big guns started dropping, whether it was time exclusive or exclusive, full-on exclusives, console exclusives. They had the games come out at the end of 2016. You had the Xbox One S drop. They had a ton of bundles with the Xbox One S. And going into 2017, we're looking at Fable. We're looking at Scalebound, Crackdown. The Xbox One X is coming out. We're hearing about all these different games. Obviously Forza is going to come out. A few other titles that they kind of brought up, like the Conan and the Black Desert. No. I'm sorry, that's 2017's E3. They had a few other titles that they had showed. Things that we still haven't seen yet, like Below and a few other games or whatever for 2016. I remember that vividly, but it seemed like it was going to be a great year. 2017 hits, man, things just not looking good. So I'm like, man, I remember talking like, see if these ain't dropping, bro. we ain't hearing nothing about Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves ain't coming out in 2017. Sure enough, Sea of Thieves gets pushed. Crackdown's not looking good. Everybody's crapping on Crackdown. No way Crackdown comes out. Nobody's gonna buy the game. Crackdown gets pushed. Fable Legends gets canceled. Scalebound gets canceled. And that's really what a lot of the people on the other side of the aisle, basically the PlayStation fans or Nintendo fans, or guys that are really into the Japanese games, forward to when it came to Xbox, a platinum title coming to Xbox. People were looking forward to picking it up, especially if it would have got good ratings. Everybody would have been all over that, but that gets canceled. And then Microsoft dropped a couple games that I didn't like. Nothing that I was interested in. You had Halo Wars 2. I'm not an RTS guy, so I didn't like that. And then you had Voodoo Vince, which I don't know why they chose that game. Obviously, I always say it's a Phil Spencer game because he loves that game, and someone kind of did that for him. So Voodoo Vince comes back out, and people gobble it up and stuff like that. But at the beginning of the year, Microsoft didn't really have that great year. Not to say they didn't have great support, third party. It was not a good year for Microsoft, unfortunately. Let's talk about that. Microsoft obviously had some setbacks. What do you think Microsoft can do different going forward, which I think they've already acknowledged, but things they need to do, and I think they've been doing already, but going forward, besides just PR, what does Microsoft has to do different so that way they don't put themselves in a position to have people have high expectations and then wind up announcing cancellations and delays the way they did in the beginning of 2017?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it needs to be phrased in terms of this way. I don't think necessarily this year was technically a bad year, at least in terms of by things they could control. But at the same time, I think it's going to end up kind of being like a staging year for Xbox, where because a lot of stuff got delayed and a lot of things got canceled. Really, this was the year. If they had 2016 this year with the lineup they had last year or this year, would have been perfect. Would have been considered one of the best years in Xbox history, likely. Mm-hmm. But this is a little different, and I like I said, I want to phrase it starting off as more of a staging year where we already know what's coming out next year with almost a completely definite lineup, and really what they need to do going forward, and it's always been about the games. It really just needs for them to focus on that being the key selling point more than anything else. Because they got the features, they've delivered on pretty much everything anybody has ever asked for in features. We got it. We got game gifting, we got custom gamer picks, we got talking to the party through your mobile app. We got tons of stuff now. It's got to be about the games. They've got to show us that, hey, we're working on stuff, and we got stuff coming out this year to justify your Xbox purchase.
Yeah, to me, it's always been about the games, and I think what they really need to do is just be more aggressive. You know what I mean? I know Phil has talked a lot about, not wanting to go out there and capture, third-party exclusives and things like that. But, everyone else is doing it. You know what I mean? And it's gravitating, larger audiences to those consoles. So, if you got the most powerful console on the market, I think you should have games to really show that off. And if you can get a couple, marquee exclusives and bring that to the platform and really show off the power, then, consumers really wouldn't have a choice, but to, give your console a second look and maybe, dive in and make that purchase. I think, the last couple of years, they just kind of got relaxed. You know what I mean? They felt everything was rolling really well. You know what I mean? They were consistent with some games, but they just weren't the heavy hitters that everyone expected them to be. And then with the cancellations and the delays and whatnot, I think it really set them back. They talked about in 2016 that 2017 was the year of the X. And yes, the X release, but beyond that, I felt like there wasn't really much to celebrate. When you're launching a big major console, the most powerful console ever to market, I felt like there should have been plenty of software to support that. And in my opinion, there just wasn't. So, going into 2018, I really want to see them coming out, being super aggressive. I want to see a lot of big announcements, at E3 or throughout the different events, throughout the year, because I think they need that. I mean, a lot of people slept on the Switch, and then I told a lot of people before it came out that Nintendo was coming back. You know what I mean? And in 9 months, they sold 10 million consoles. So Sony sold another 10 million consoles within like 8 or 9 months or some nonsense like that. So people are gravitating to those consoles. Microsoft has to be aggressive.
First of all, the Switch is not a console.
Yes, it is.
I don't like this cheating hybrid thing. You know what I'm saying? You're not a console. Everybody knows the Switch is a handheld. People play it as a handheld. The whole reason why people get a Switch is to get it on the go. If you couldn't take the Switch with you, ain't nobody buying the Switch, bro. I don't care what type of device it is. It relegates itself back to the Wii U status because the third-party support is there exclusively, not as far as the big titles like the Wolfensteins or the Dooms or the Red Deads or the Grand Theft Autos, et cetera, because the hardware's not going to be able to handle it. And I'm not trying to hate on the Switch. I grew up a Nintendo fanboy. One of my favorite systems of all time is the Super NES, and I'm probably going to pick up a Switch at some point. But I look at the Switch. What I wanted was something mobile that I could take with me. I got kids. I want to entertain them. I could strap that thing to the back of my car, the back of my seat of my car, and my kid can play a game while he's in the back seat while I'm going someplace, or I could take it downstairs or take it upstairs. I think that's really cool, the mobility of it. I can't tip my hat off enough to Sony in the fact that they stuck with what they did. I recently saw Shu come out and talk about they're going to continue to do what they do best with just single player games, and a lot of people hop up on that, and I get that. I respect that. I respect what they do as somebody who grew up on single player games, but I gravitate now, and I think this is one of the reasons why I love Microsoft and probably why I've been rocking with them mostly is because I gravitate to the social aspect of multiplayer games. Not so much the shooters, but the adventure type games, the co-op type games, the camaraderie of it, hanging out with people in the party, chatting, joking, laughing. It really feels like people, even though they're not there. I'm in the comfort of my own home on my own screen. That's why I look forward to games like, Black Desert and Monster Hunter when it drops. And the reason why I like Microsoft and Xbox Live, because I think it's the best. I think it's the best place to play, actually. So I had a terrible year in the beginning of the year. And that's mainly because I think they had their cancellations. You remove Fable Legends. I think if you don't remove Fable Legends, it looked like it was going to be a solid game. And if, Scalebound, I don't know what Scalebound was going to be, honestly. Based on what we saw, it just didn't look ready, clearly. But if Scalebound was ready and it did release, you're looking at a different beginning of the year. You're looking at a different year, period. Just those two games alone. You're talking about the beginning of the year, having Scalebound. Let's just say things didn't go the way. Yeah, let's just say things don't go the way they go. You're talking about Scalebound, Fable Legends, Crackdown, Voodoo Vents, and Halo Wars 2 in the beginning of the year. And then by the end of the year, you're talking about what? Sea of Thieves, Forza 7. What else did they release? I can't even think off the top of my head. And they had a few other titles, like Hello Neighbor. You had the Conan released in August. I can't think. A couple indie titles, Tacoma, and some other stuff that released early on in the year, and now PUBG in December. So the outcome is completely different, but it didn't happen that way because they had cancellations and they had delays, and it really set them back. I don't think it put Microsoft back to the point that they can't recover.
But you got to think, though, like, let's just say all those games did come out, right? So what would 2018 look like? Because they didn't announce anything at E3 beyond the games that we already knew about. So
State of Decay would come out. Yeah.
It would drop. They had a couple, obviously, timed exclusives that would have hit the platform. As far as AAA titles, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. We know they're working on stuff. We don't know how far along those games are. They're going to drop. We hope that something drops in 2018. But maybe they surprise us, maybe they don't. I'll be 100% with you. I'm not sure what we're going to get in 2018 at the end of 2018. But based on what I've seen, I like what I've seen so far. You know what I'm saying? I like the Ashen and the Last Night and the Black Desert and seeing them get the Dragon Ball Z and the Kovan. Those are third-party titles, but those are big. Anthem being a third-party title, but also probably being a marketing deal game, which – being on the X to me is going to be huge. I just think Microsoft, as far as we know what they need to do with first party, but they've been able to capture some things I think I didn't expect them to capture that I only thought would be on PlayStation.
There's something that I think they did really well this year. I'm pretty sure we talked about this last year. My big thing was I wanted them to capitalize on game preview, because that's something where Sony, the only person who's not benefiting is Sony because of their own policy. And by using game preview, you get inherent earlier access to games that Sony won't get in the PlayStation because of Sony's own policies. And I think that's something that they really started trying to capitalize on this year with Conan and PUBG. And the only reason PUBG's not on PlayStation first is, because it's just not available because of the game preview. And so, these are things that I think are important. These are things that I'm glad they have really capitalized on, because that's something that's kind of merging the PC space on the console. And I'm all down for that.
Without question, I think Microsoft, obviously, they had a terrible year. This might be their worst year ever, honestly, as far as, what they're trying to accomplish as a console manufacturer. And as a publisher, what I don't like is how people negate the first 4 years of Xbox as if they don't have anything. And the fact that people are trying to, put them on as games as a service only company when they're not a games as a service company. It's something they acknowledge as a way to go, because that's going to make them sustain money. It doesn't mean they're not going to make single player games. Sony can make single player games, but it's hard for Sony to make multiplayer games because most of their multiplayer games don't do well. Just keep it 100. obviously, The Last of Us as a multiplayer game's tacked on. People enjoy it. People are enjoying the Uncharted series, but games like Resistance, games like Killzone, those games aren't taking off the way a Halo or Gears does. You know, Call of Duty, obviously, it's just no matter what, you could put freaking Transformers in Call of Duty and change the whole name, and people still buy it just because it says Call of Duty. So I think at the end of the day, being that's on PlayStation that has a larger market, that's going to sell regardless. You flip the script and put that back on Xbox, and Xbox has a larger install base, it's going to sell regardless and sell the most on Xbox. So, you know, I don't really look at COD in that space. Battlefield does extremely well on Xbox, and that's a marketed game. People just gravitate towards shooters on Xbox because of the controller and a lot of the competitiveness through Xbox because of live, and you know, so many people are no Xbox for multiplayer titles. So that's why I kind of like rocking with Xbox a lot as well. I just think that overall, what Sony does great is single player experiences and narrative stories, and that's good. And that's something Microsoft needs to improve on. And obviously, they have the Japanese market locked up. But I think if Microsoft can inch their way in to grab a few Japanese titles, like I've seen them do, like getting Valkyrie Chronicles 4 on there, to me was huge. I wasn't expecting that. Even if it's multiplat, that game was an exclusive title for a very long time. We're getting Romance Saga 2 in an updated, remastered sprite version of the game, but still, I would have never thought a game like that would come to Xbox. And I'm excited to play that, even if it's 16-bit. I'm excited to play that game. So, Code Vein, I would have never expected Code Vein to come to Xbox. I just wouldn't. And I think that's enough for Xbox fans to, if you're into those type of games, you know, grab them. Grab them while you can, enjoy them, show support for those titles so you can get the best Japanese games you can get. Nobody's looking for the emo and the, you know, the stuff that's a little bit too extreme, like the girls, you know, jiggling around playing volleyball and all that. But we definitely want to try to get the best titles you can get out of Japan to diversify the lineup as much as you possibly can, because we already got the big third-party support and first-party support is coming, but you already have big games when it comes to multiplayer. So I just think that it's not as bad as people think. I think a lot of people over-exaggerate how bad it is for Xbox, but it wasn't. I just think they had a terrible year, and it's reflective in the first half of the year.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say it again. I still think this year Microsoft is going to use it as a staging year, where 2018 is going to be jam packed, and we're going to learn more stuff coming out in 2018 because things down the pipeline, and also that falls into the 3-year plan that Phil Spencer's already said. Like, hey, because he took over in the beginning of 2014, which gives enough time for them to greenlight projects, and so we're sitting here at the 3rd, 4th year now, and it's about time. Things are due. These projects that he greenlit, it's about time for him. So I think this next E3 will get some good surprises, and I think people feel more confident.
Yeah. Again, I'm not trying to say. My thing is this. Listen, because I'm seeing some of the comments say that Microsoft did it right, but the thing is, so many people base how bad Xbox is off of 2017. That's like me saying, you know what? PlayStation had a terrible year because they didn't drop a lot of exclusives at the end of the holidays the first 3 years. Most of the exclusives came in the beginning of the year. Most of the big hitters came in the beginning of the year. But this year, they had a lot of #1 hits. A lot of those aren't even first-party games. Those are third-party titles. I'm not taking that away from Sony whatsoever. I just think that overall, they had a great year. To me, it's weird to then sit up there and say, oh, well, Sony's always had a great year. I don't think they've always had a great year. If I go back to the beginning,
2014 was pretty bad, if you remember, right?
Yeah, like they didn't always have a great year every year. They really kind of blew up in 2017. Every year, everybody talked about, even the critics also dropped all these big guns at the end of the year. Every holiday season, Xbox had all these big games, these big AAA experiences, and these third-party deals and all the stuff like that at the end of the year. And we just forget all about that. So I'm bringing up the past because, yeah, it was a poor year. But if you don't have an Xbox, all of the games you never played is there. They're there to play. They're new experiences for those who don't have an Xbox and have never played those games, unless you have a PC. And if you're lucky to get those games on PC, then so be it. But if you haven't played those games and you're only a console gamer, then those are new experiences. That's my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I never had a PS4, me playing Infamous, Second Son, playing Uncharted, playing Horizon Zero Dawn, all those games, they came out in the beginning of the year in years past. I didn't get a chance to play those games. Those are all new games to me, and that's an amazing, incredible lineup, except for Infamous. I hate Infamous, but I'm just using it as an example. So that's all I'm saying. You can't sit up here and say, oh, Sunset Overdrive, nobody wants to talk about Sunset Overdrive like that was a bad game, at least critically. I didn't like it, but at least critically, it wasn't a bad game. Halo's not a bad game, especially the multiplayer. Gears is not a bad game. All the Forza Horizon 3, Forza Horizon 2, the Tomb Raider that had came out. Rise, Son of Rome isn't a bad game. It's just repetitive. It actually had a really great story. You just like people talk about The Order 1886. People say it was short. It was a walking simulator.
Best
but a lot
game
of people
on PlayStation.
According to Anchor. You know, everybody knows Anchor's a little off, but according to Anchor, is the best game on PlayStation. So for me, all I'm saying is, you know, if you don't have an Xbox, if you pick up an Xbox One, if you've been a PlayStation dude this whole generation, there's options. Don't sit there and say there's nothing to play when there's plenty to play. You just haven't played it or looked to play it. And that's all I'm saying. So, yeah, the past does matter. You know what I'm saying? Now, the future, you want to know what's happening in the future. And, yeah, you can go back to this past E3 to see what they've showed. If it doesn't interest you, that's fine. It doesn't have to interest you. There's games that Sony has showed that don't interest me at all. VR doesn't interest me at all. And the majority of that crap is VR. So, for me, I'm not interested. But there's some games that does interest me. The Ghost of Tsushima, whatever that game is called, I love that. That looks real interesting to me from Sucker Punch. So I'm hyped about that game. On the other hand, I just played the Sea of Thieves beta or alpha for the first time, and I'm excited about that. I got in the game and played it, and I was really blown away with the quality of the game so far from what I played. So listen, to each their own, but I just think that a lot of people are kind of green in one instance because of the great year that Sony had in the beginning of the year. That's all I'm saying. So let's talk about the good. Microsoft, obviously, again, they started out poorly. I think past E3, hyping up the Xbox One X, we start getting all these specs. Xbox One X comes out, and it's critically a success, and financially, it's a success. It did great numbers for them, and financially, it did great numbers for them for NPD because they made the most money on Black Friday, and it's done everything or close to everything they said it was going to do. Enhanced so many games, made so many games better, whether you had an update or you didn't, especially if the game was dynamic. And the enhanced games just keep coming. They just keep coming, and the games are looking better and better and better. I think this was a great move for Microsoft, and I don't think Microsoft will ever go back to dropping any type of weak technology again after Xbox Scorpio.
Yeah, I agree. I think from now on they're going to try to hold the whole premium experience aspect to it. And from now on they're going to be like, okay, if we're either dropping a year late or we're dropping same time, or we're going to make sure we have the most powerful option.
Right.
Yeah, this is part of their mantra now. Like they want to have the most powerful thing. And that might work in their benefit to do just to have a little staggered plan for it. Like, okay, and that really can work out in the long run. I mean, look at phone companies like you got like Samsung and Apple. They literally drop like a little bit after each other. Isn't it? Samsung drops like in the spring with their new phone, and then Apple drops out in the fall with their new phone. So they just kind of one up each other every 6 months. So I mean, it could work. Impossible.
Yeah, I agree. B, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely going to continue with the power narrative. But you know, like I've been saying this entire time, games is what matter at the end of the day. And you know what I mean? They just got to continue showing games. You can be the most powerful. It's been seen plenty of times, And you know what I mean, that doesn't always equate success at the end of the day. You know what I mean, people still are interested in games at the end of the day. So games got to be you know, first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I definitely don't disagree with you. I mean, you can have all the power in the world, but if you don't have games to play, but listen, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to. I mean, obviously, you need exclusives. I think, and I've said this before, even before back in the day when I used to go crazy on Microsoft because of the whole Xbox and PC thing, and I'm kind of over it at this point. But you know, I always said this before. I always felt like Microsoft lost its identity and felt like Xbox was Windows 10. It was like the Windows box at this point because they were investing so much into the PC route on the Windows 10 platform. And I kind of felt neglected. I kind of felt like they didn't, you know, put enough into the Xbox community. And, you know, they're sitting there making all of these great features and the ability to have crossplay and the ability to on two platforms, and all that stuff is amazing. It's great. It makes the platform great. But yes, exclusive titles are super important. It's super important for investment. It's super important for first party, and it's super important to own IP. I can't stress enough how owning IP is very important because you can always get a third party to make your game and go in a direction and go with the vision that you want. I don't agree with it. I always feel like you need to have first party so that way you have familiarity and you have control. And if you want to make a new one, you can. But I also think that if you own the IP, you could do whatever you want with it. And that there's nothing wrong with that. And in my opinion, as far as at least you're getting the IP out. I think them coming out with the hardware was a big boost, both for third parties now run better, play better, look better. I think the next generation comes out. Sony will obviously drop a 4K 60 system that will more than likely run games natively at 4K 60 and probably more consistently at 60 frames per second. I think Microsoft will come out and run games at 4K 60 and 60 locked. That's the way I look at it. I think they'll come out a year later and drop something. And I think Sony will drop a console that will be $400 again. I don't think they'll go 500. I think they'll stick at 4, and I think Microsoft will go 5. As a reasonable number, it allows them to do a little bit extra, and I think people will expect that. Microsoft will put out the hardware. We just need to see the games, and whatever they're working on. Hopefully, they're huge titles that will draw people in to play those sequels when they come out in the next set of hardware. But I think they've done a great job and recovered well with Xbox One X in the holiday season.
I'm not sure about that price point going in the future. I'm not really sure.
Why?
I think it just depends on how often the consoles release. You know what I mean? Like if it's every 6 years or so, I'm good with paying
500.
You know, re-upping 500 every 6 years or so. But if it's
that's
close
already
to 4
done.
years, then I'm like
it's done. It's done because what the Xbox One X has showed Microsoft is that no matter what quality console that has enough power, there's going to be a certain amount of fans that's going to buy it, and that's all you need. That's all you need is that 500,000 to 1 million to initially buy. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, you can drop your console price to $450, or you can come up with your discounts or your bundles or whatever it is at lower prices until eventually you do a permanent price drop over the next couple of years to $400. You know what I'm saying? But the goal, obviously, at $500, what they recognize is that they made a quality product, and they're going to have this quality product on the market. Now, the one thing I can say is that what they'll wind up probably doing, and again, I think this is exactly what they'll do. X will be the new $400 system, and the next console that comes out, which is the next generation console, will be $500. And because you
Project
can play
Capricorn,
not Capricorn, Honey Badger. God damn it, get it right.
No,
Honey Badger.
Scorpio. Then it's gonna be Capricorn.
Honey Badger, because
I said it'll
Microsoft.
be the GOAT.
No, it's got to be Honey Badger because Microsoft no longer gives a shit. That's why they no longer care. They're going to put out the most powerful console on the market. They don't care what people say or how much it costs. They're just going to put it out there. But I think they're going to make a premium system. They'll put it out there. The Xbox One X will be the regular system, and because all the games will work on the One X, it will work on the Honey Badger or the Capricorn, whatever Anchor said. It will work on that project platform as well. And if you want the cheaper version of those games that run at dynamic 4K or up-res 4K at 60 or 30, then you could pick it up there. But if you want the full 4K texture, 60 frames per second locked generation of that console. And I think people will eat it up. They will buy it. I truly think the fans will buy it. They've learned their lesson from the Elite controller, and they see the success with the Xbox One X, and I don't think Microsoft goes back. I don't think they'd go below 400 ever again. 100 is the hot spot for them. It's the money spot for them.
I don't think you can actually say the hot spot. Because it's really early on. We don't have any hard sales data on the X per se, but every time they try to launch at 500, they drop that price as soon as possible, and I can't say that's the hot spot for them.
The X1 X can be at 300 by the time the next generation comes out. Point console, you know what I'm saying? But should probably be about 400 or 450. The year after that, it'd be at about 400 or 350. And by the time the next console come out, you're looking at a $300 X1 X. About 2 or 3 years, the Xbox $300, and your next gen console comes out at about $500. I'm telling you. And the Xbox One S, $150 or $189, which is what they were doing with the X now, maybe even less than that. Let's say just completely discontinue it. Just only have a slim version. I don't know how skinny you can get with the X1 X, but the X1 X. So I just think that's what they'll do going forward. I don't think they're going to come out with a new generation console and drop the X1 X. They're not doing generations. I think we'll just get new updated consoles from Xbox that plays the same games, prior platform, backwards compatible, going forward for the rest of Microsoft, lifespan until they figure out what they're going to do with Azure. At some point, there's 12 years, 15 years from now, we will be playing games off servers. That's how I look. I think we will be playing games off servers at some point, the way this gaming generation is going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff that plays into that, but I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see, how Microsoft evolves over time. With this cross generation, and everything can kind of play on, your existing hardware. So it'll be interesting to see, how fans adapt to that, and if they feel the need to go out and purchase the new hardware if everything plays on what they already have. So it's going to be interesting to watch that.
Right. So let's move on to the bad. We talked about the good. We talked about the ugly. PUBG just dropped, and a lot of people have been killing the game because the game dropped in preview. Microsoft was promoting the game like it was some big AAA title. You know what I'm saying? Get it exclusively on the Xbox One X platform, yada, yada, for months. And listen, the one thing I can say is that Xbox fans were not deterred from picking up this game. 1 million people are playing this game right now, or at least 1 million people have purchased the game. I don't know, what makes this game so special. I haven't purchased the game yet. I've seen it online. I've seen people play. It's cool. To me, it looks like Camping Simulator, but I'm going to pick it up at some point. It really does like Camping Simulator. But, it's cool or whatever. But 1 million Xbox fans picked this game up. No matter what the PlayStation fans said, they are not deterred by the mix of the game or the poor frame rate or anything, man. They are playing this game like it is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I don't know if that's a bad thing. Look at it. I think it's the hottest multiplayer. It's now the hottest multiplayer game on Xbox One. It's a huge success for Xbox, regardless of the negative news that has come out on the game. Preview, like Anchorman said, has been huge. Putting this on their platform is something that no one they'll be able to get. Like these type of PC titles come to the platform because of preview, like Ark, like games like Conan, and now you have PUBG.
Conan.
I think that's huge. I think that's huge for them. And I don't really look at it as a bad, but I'm saying it's a bad because of all the negativity that it's received over the last couple of weeks. Thoughts on that?
I think it's bad just from a standpoint. It's like, you know what I mean? I feel like it just shows the true colors of most Xbox fans when people call like the Xbox a shooter box. Because like, how can you run out and buy this game for $30 and deal with all the nonsense that it's come with? But like half the games that came out before, you know what I mean, the past 2 years, nobody went and bought. You know what I mean? Like, where was all these people who, you know what I mean, for Quantum Break when it came out, or Recore, or any Sunset Overdrive? Like, I don't know. It's annoying to me that like we run out and celebrate this game that's like not even done, but when Microsoft releases full-fledged games, like nobody's talking about them, nobody's playing them. Like I haven't played PUBG. The dude that I game share with, he's been playing it, and he talks to me and complains about the game every day. He like, you know what I mean? He talks about the frame rates. He talks about, you know, being kicked from the game, like, you know, when there's 20 people left and you know what I mean, he feel like he's doing really well and then the game just kicks him out. You know, he's got all the pop-in graphics, muddy graphics. He's like, I don't understand, you know what I mean, what's going on here. He's not a guy who, you know, jumps into preview games or anything like that. He just bought it because everybody else was talking about it. He knew, you know what I mean, not too much about the game. He just knew it was the hottest game out. So he picked it up, and he's a little disappointed with his purchase. But that's the thing that I think is probably the most annoying to me, is that we run out and celebrate this. You know what I mean? Microsoft promoted it as this big AAA game, and tried to sneak in, you know what I mean, by telling people that it was a preview game, but they didn't promote it that way. And, you know what I mean, we celebrated like it's a AAA game, and we kind of ignored everything else that came out prior to it. So that's the most annoying thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, unlike these two, I've actually played the game. So I got first-hand experience on this. So I have not played it on the S. I've been playing it on the X. And like I have a buddy who has played it on the S, and I've seen it. Like it's being on low settings. Like right now we got like medium settings or something similar to that, at least currently for us on the X. I'm torn on PUBG because on one end, when it's running fine, you see why people have gone around this game. You see why people love this game. And like I could say, at least on this front, the game's buggy as hell on PC too. So this is not like it's just the Xbox version, which is bad. Like the Xbox has its own specific issues, yes. But the game's not even done on PC. So I'm not this is not something new to them either. The thing is though, I look at it as this was an opportunity that Microsoft could not pass up to try and get it on there, and the only reason why it's gotten this much promotion is because of Crackdown and Scalebound and everything else being delayed or canceled. So they really didn't have any other options than trying to push another game to say, hey, look, we don't have nothing this holiday. We got something. This was the only way they could really go about it. So I always felt like they were upfront about it being in early access. I thought they said like, hey, yeah, it's coming. It's gonna be in early access. It's not like they lied about it. So I give them that much. I mean, it really does need a lot of work, and it's not even talking about bugs. Like bugs are being fixed all the time now, but there's some basic stuff that they could have fixed, like one of our guys, Undead 3XVI, actually was one of the first people to expose this. Rather, if you plug in a mouse and keyboard, you can actually play the game with mouse and keyboard. It's crazy. And it's not like it's a determined feature either. If they've not said supporting mouse and keyboard, so far he's tried it with just the keyboard, and you can actually pull up menus and stuff that are only available on the PC version. You can't pull them up on the controller. It's crazy. Like you can actually pull up and change the gamma and do all that kind of stuff with just the keyboard, and also like the control scheme's just weird as hell. Like. Here's an example. So, for every shooter person, everybody knows holding down left trigger is aim down sights, right? Everybody understands this. On PUBG, holding down the left trigger kind of zooms you in a little bit on a third person. If you tap it, it goes to first person, aim down sights. But you have to tap it for it to do that. It's such a weird mechanic. It's such a weird way to do it. They really have other questionable choices on there. It really does need work. But again, this is more. I think it's more of a victim of circumstance than willful ignorance.
As somebody that supports preview games, there's a lot of games on there that I've purchased that I support. One of the games that I purchased obviously was Ark. Ark was life for me for a very long time. I literally had to force myself to stop playing Ark just to play other games on a ton of games. I purchased Conan and completely abandoned Conan because I just couldn't take lagging out. It was just too much. Whenever they get that finally fixed and a full release, I will pick it up again and start playing it. I support Ghost of a Tale, which we on the show, he was the one man making this game. If you haven't seen this game, definitely go out, download the game, support that game. Really cool game. You play a mouse and you're stuck in this world, and the enemies are rats and other creatures, frogs and cats, and it's pretty dope, man. It's really interesting medieval time type stuff. It's really cool game, and you have to use your wits and your abilities as a mouse to survive. It's kind of like a good stealth game. And that's another game that I support. And of course, I want to support PUBG. And I love team games, but at the same time, I'm playing a game and I'm up and I feel like I'm in the lead. I got the wins, I got the kills, and I'm on my way to being number one and I get kicked. Yeah, that's going to be absolutely frustrating for me. But the great thing about preview is that most of the time, a lot of times, these devs are really, really quick about updates, really, really quick about fixing it. And a game like this could be on Xbox for almost 2 years before it hits any other platform. Ark was on Xbox for damn near 2 years before it hit PlayStation. So, like Edgar said, I really like the preview program. Bringing games over, people have to understand that these are unfinished games or unfinished products. I do understand where fans are coming from when it comes to the marketing of it. Like, how could you market this game like it's going to be the greatest game since sliced bread, and people get it, and it's just a mess. It's just broken. But you understand what you're getting into when you purchase preview games. If you play Ark, dude, you could be on a pterodactyl, and not a pterodactyl, pteranodon, and literally lag out of the game mid-flight, and come back into the game back in the day and be falling mid-air from your bird and die and lose everything that you had on yourself. Those were just some of the hardships that came with playing these games in preview. So I'm not too frustrated or mad about it, honestly. I think the biggest thing for Microsoft is when they get the game fixed, working properly, and the game is working at a rate where you aren't lagging and you're winning and people are enjoying themselves and the graphics gets an update and it looks good, they got that game exclusively on their platform. And it is something that they can push and they can brand going forward all the way into the following year because it's an ongoing series. It's an ongoing game. And that's big for Xbox. So that's why I don't look at it as a bad thing. It may be a bad thing now, but because it's a preview, because it constantly gets updates, because it's something that fans can look to, and it's only $30, you have an opportunity to really, Microsoft has an opportunity to really push that game going forward, especially going into next year, working with Bluehole, getting the updated maps. You combine that with some of the games they got coming out next year, plus, some of the third-party deals they got, and of course, some of the Japanese games they got coming. I think Microsoft have a great 2018. I really do. I just look forward to what they have at E3, or if they show something early with maybe one or two AAA exclusives that we haven't heard about. That's all I'm looking for. Give me one or two big AAA titles, heavy graphic titles, big budget titles that are new IPs that we haven't seen yet. And I know they got them. And I am set. I'm a happy camper. I'm a happy guy because I already like what they've got going so far. Getting Monster Hunter on Xbox to me was already something that I was super ecstatic about, and I can't wait to play this game next month. My birthday's next month, so I'm already going to convince my wife to pick it up for me. So I'm really hyped for it, man. I can't wait. So we'll see what happens with 2018, but that is basically it that Microsoft has. So for 2017, what do you guys rate the Xbox division, and the Xbox console? What do you guys kind of give it? Let's say on a scale, 1 out of 10. Let's start with you, B.
I'll probably give them somewhere.
Separate scores for each of them, or
no, just overall from what they've done this year, how they recovered. Xbox One X, PUBG, Forza 7, whatever preview games they had, obviously the games they dropped this year, the cancellations, all that stuff. Xbox, what do you give it on the scale of?
For me personally, I'm gonna give them a 6 just because I'm not a big preview program guy. You know what I mean? I haven't touched any of the games in preview. For me, you know what I mean, if I'm going to spend my dollar in a game, it's got to be close to being done or, you know what I mean, at least feel like a finished product. So a lot of the games that are in preview they're wiped from existence to me until they become full releases. So even like PUBG, I can acknowledge the fact that it's out there. It's one of the biggest games of the year. A lot of people are enjoying it, but for me, it's no big deal. It's, you know what I mean, X'd out of my mind. So when I look at the rest of the releases for the year, and just the things that they have done, you know what I mean, I was super hyped for Scalebound. I thought that could have been something pretty special. Big fan of Platinum's A-Team work. A lot of stuff that they put out, Wonderful 101, Bayonetta. You know what I mean, a lot of solid products that they've put out. So that was kind of a disappointment for me. And then there just wasn't anything else that really attracted me to any of the exclusives that released besides Forza. So for me, I got to give them a 6, man.
Okay. Hank?
I'd probably give them a 5. I think the biggest issue this year was, 5 is an average, right? That's what I'm thinking, a 5, not a 50%. And the reason why they really, really fell down on the games department, this year, in terms of exclusive games, I think I only wanted to play one. I want to play Cuphead. That was pretty much it. And at least when it comes to exclusive games. But then I can't just completely just go shit on everything because it's not fair to the other parts of the Xbox division. Mike Ibarra's team was going ham this year.
Right.
They redesigned the Xbox deal. They had all this cool stuff. They pushed for PUBG. They did all this stuff to change up the Xbox and make everything better. Custom gamer picks, things all of you said was not going to happen. Lo and behold, we got custom gamer picks. I was the only one saying it was going to happen. And there we go. So I gotta give Mikey Barra's team some love because they went overtime. And they got a lot of attention simply because... Oh, and also backwards compatibility for OG Xbox One games, so keep that in mind. Like, they really did a lot of work feature side, but they really, really slacked on the game side of things. So I kind of cancel them out, at least in terms of scoring. But then, like, I do play a lot of the preview games and all that kind of stuff. And I appreciate them for the first half of the year because they actually allowed me to knock out my backlog of games, so I'm
like
very glad about that. But
not like you're going above 5.
Nah, but no new games doesn't help either. Like, just the fact that I happen to have a huge backlog. And keep in mind, I also got a Switch and a PlayStation this year too. So if I only had an Xbox, I might have been bored.
That ain't got nothing to do with X. Oh my god! All right, look,
I would have run out of things in my backlog if it wasn't for PlayStation or Switch. So I got to give them a 5.
All right. First and foremost, I thought as a fanboy, because I was pumping Scalebound for the longest, absolutely disappointed. And the game, but I understand why it was canceled. I don't want to get into that. I've gotten to that already. Fable Legends being canceled, the closing of Lionhead Studios, the closing of Press Play. Tough early year. It makes me definitely want to give them a 4 out of 10 just for that alone. I got to give them 2 points for the Xbox One X. I'm sorry. I got to. Xbox One X is an amazing piece of tech. I've been completely impressed with it. It's super fast. I remember hearing about the loading times of Quantum Break and the loading times of Mass Effect. And I mean, I played both those games and it's fast. It's fast. Even if you didn't get an update, one of the things they said was the extra RAM would increase the overall loading times of games. And I thought that was just special. I felt like they thought about everything Xbox One X. So for that, I give them 2 points. That pumps them up to a 6. I thought that their holiday season was much better than the beginning of the year. It wasn't better than 2016, but to me, it was a great pickup. I think a lot of people, because of the loot box situation and the microtransaction situation, but the quality of the game is still high quality. It's got sports game of the year. It's one of the best looking games on the Xbox One X, and it plays extremely well. If you're looking for any retail out there between that, GT, and P2, most people recommend Forza 7. So I think that was great. Cuphead has been a great game. It's been really fun. They dropped PUBG at the end in December. They had Conan early on. I just really have to give them another point for that. So that's a 7 out of 10 so far. And again, I just have to say that they did a great job, like you said, with Mike Cabrera, what they've done with the operating system, all the features they put in there, Arena. They're going to have put background music. You got your custom gamer picks. You got your custom backgrounds. They've done a lot as far as the operating system's concerned, kind of cut down on it a little bit here and there. And to me, I think they did a great job. So I definitely want to give them a 7.2 out of 10 for the year. I feel like I should give them an 8 just because I'm the last on the planet Xbox, and that should count for something. But I'm not going to do that tonight on tonight's show. I'm going to keep it 100 and just give them a 7.2 out of 10. Now, they really need to pick it up, though. Pick it up for next year. I think killed it this year. Without question, I have to give.
What has Nintendo got to do with it? What has Nintendo got to do with it? What are you doing?
Got nothing to do with it. Well, Nintendo's got nothing to do with it, but the fanboy in me for Nintendo makes me just want to acknowledge Nintendo because of what they've been pumping out, which has been bananas to me for that little ass console. So much respect to Nintendo in that regard. They've been killing it, and that Zelda game in the DLC at the Game Awards was crazy. I thought that was crazy to me. Like, yo, you talking about you could play it tonight at the Game Awards? Dude, that was nuts to me. So that was big. That was big. I thought that was big for Zelda and Nintendo. So shout out to Nintendo on that part. But yeah, 7.2 out of 10. They got a lot of work to do next year. I need them to get back 0.59 out of 10 for the year. They really need to set their game up in 2018. They may lose some fans if they don't. And that's the sad part about it. They may lose some people if they don't. Hopefully they don't. And hopefully the fans will be satisfied with what they got coming out in 2018. So that's it, man. That's it tonight for our show. It's midnight. I will quickly do a Q&A if anybody's interested in asking us questions before we get out of here. It is the last show for the year. We will return the first week of January. The time of Saturdays at 10 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to go ahead and end the show for the MP3 crowd. We want to thank everybody for stopping out. Please give us a thumbs up if you love the show, if you love the Xbox support. Listen, we try to keep it real. We don't try to sugarcoat much of anything. Has a solid opinion when it comes to Xbox. We are the premier podcast for Xbox. But I think that we try to be honest as much as we can. Even if some of the fanboys might not like our opinions, we try to be honest with Xbox. We try to be truthful in our evaluations of Microsoft, Xbox, and the things that they do. So that way, the true Xbox fans out there, the people who really care and don't want things sugar-coated, can actually get a truthful opinions from some guys out there that really care about gaming, not just platforms. So make sure you give us a thumbs up, man. We appreciate the support and sharing. You can catch this episode. I'll make sure we get all our backlog episodes up on iTunes before the year is out. You can catch us on iTunes at TIC_podcast. That's TIC Uncast. You can catch us on iTunes. Twitter. You can catch us on Twitter at TIC_podcast. You can catch us on iTunes at TIC podcast as one word. TIC word. And make sure you go to TICGN.com to get the latest news, reviews, and opinions and things like that, because those guys work extremely hard. They do a great job over there. And you can see everything from Xbox news to PlayStation news, PC news, reviews, comics, anime. We got it all over at TICGN.com. So make sure you support. So I'm going to go ahead and end this for the MP3 crowd, try to answer some questions and end the show the right way. And we'll see you guys in 15. I'm your host, KORS Kal-El, the last son of Planet Xbox, with my man Anchorman V and B Money 101, and we're off this planet. All right. Q&A time. I want to thank everybody for stopping out. Truly appreciate you guys. Chris Cobra, Edge, Last Side Ninja. Shout out to CLK for stopping in. Zedpo, Jarrell Johnson. Really appreciate you guys, man, for stopping in and hanging out with us tonight. Other Zinc was in the chat. Now, you know Other Zinc is in the chat. He ain't cursing us out. We must be doing something good. Appreciate Devin T for giving us a shout out and telling us a great show. Really appreciate that as well. Listening. So go ahead, man. Leave your questions. You got any questions? We'll try our best to answer them and give you the best opinions and answers that we can.
Also, for a charity runoff, if you donate $100 to a charity of my choice, you can make KORX Kal-El here play Alien Isolation and stream it.
He's robbing you. Don't listen to him. I am not playing Alien Isolation. If you give him $100, expect that money to not be returned to you, because I am not playing Alien Isolation.
It'll be returned in gifted copies of Fallout 4 and Alien Isolation. There you go.
Everybody's trying to force me to play this game. I'm not playing Alien Isolation, man.
You gotta play it, man. Gotta play it.
I'm not playing it. I'm good. I am good. All right. SXL says, Cal, if you and Anchorman survive, you always ask these questions. If you and Anchorman survive a plane crash in the wilderness with no food, would you eat him to survive until help arrived? Wow, that's tough.
Would you or could you? Is this a would you or could you question?
It's a would
could you?
Not a could. Could I? I probably could catch you in your sleep. I probably couldn't take you straight on because you're such a big dude. That's a weight advantage. So I give you that much. But I could probably, I'm a little bit quicker.
Wait, what desert island is this? What desert island is this? Is this like a cold desert island? Because if that's the case, I think I got the advantage. I'm used to sleeping in cold acid. Like I'm the dude who's like, okay, it's like 20 degrees outside. Let's leave the window open and go to sleep.
Well, here's a fact. This is an actual fact. It's not a racist statement. It's an actual fact.
Jeez, here we go.
Black people are more likely to get hypothermia faster than white people in the cold. Obviously, white people are more likely to catch sunburn in the heat than black people. Listen, I'm telling you right now, you put me in the cold, bro. That's an L.
Yeah, we don't do cold too well, man.
Oh, bro. I need to be in like a nice climate, man. That's why I'm in Florida now. I left New York because it was too cold. That's a tough one. I don't know. I would have to catch him either when he's sleeping or he's not looking, or I got to take out his knees. I got to get him down somehow, man. I got to get him down, bro.
That may not work for you either because I was wrestling in high school, so
I just got to get you down. I don't know.
I'm used to being down.
Hey, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Last Sign Ninja asks, has Microsoft abandoned single player and multiplayer AAA games? Nah. What? I don't know why people think that. People are really abandoning Microsoft because of some of the decisions they made this year. I just think everybody's completely lost confidence in Xbox. I don't know why.
Wait.
They just dropped the most powerful console on the planet. They're gonna pump games into that machine.
Wait, so we're rephrase the question. Reread that question for me real quick, because the way you phrase it, they say that Microsoft's abandoning both single player and multiplayer AAA games.
That's what it says. That's what has Microsoft abandoned single and multiplayer AAA games.
No, that's ridiculous.
Are they not considering Sea of Thieves a AAA game?
Yeah, Sea of Thieves is definitely
a AAA game. No Halo, no Gears, no Forza. Those don't count.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I refuse to believe that's his actual question. I think maybe he was actually asking Microsoft was abandoning single-player AAA games for multiplayer AAA games. In that case, maybe.
Let's see. Chris Kroger said, just skin Anchorman and wear his skin like Buffalo Bill if it's too cold. That's funny. Someone says Omega Zio play anywhere is not a feature to brag about.
What's not a feature?
And Xbox Play Anywhere. What do you guys think?
Who are we bragging to?
Just saying in general that Xbox Play Anywhere is not a good feature for Xbox to have. What is your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't feel one way about it or another, I guess. I mean, most of my gaming is done on the console. So, I mean, I don't really brag about that in the first place. But I guess if the guys who, have PCs or whatever, they could be proud of that. You know what I mean? Especially if they got like a gaming laptop or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like, picking up and taking that anywhere. You got a couple of minutes at work or whatever on break. And get in a couple of matches of Killer Instinct or something. You know what I mean? I don't see a problem with that.
I think it's bragging worthy. Like, okay, here's a scenario why. And here's why I think it is brag worthy. My brother has always been a PlayStation dude. As soon as I went out and bought, or sorry, when I got my 360 back in 2011, he was like, I want to have my own system. So he went and bought a PlayStation 2, then eventually upgraded to PlayStation 3. And ever since then, he's been a big PlayStation guy. But now he's in college. He's a senior. He's about to graduate. And right now, he's starting to dabble on PC. And he's really kind of digging PC. And so one of the things that he's really kind of pissed off about is because he's been on PlayStation for so long, a lot of his games don't transfer over there. And so we were actually having this conversation because he's back for the holidays, and he told me straight up, he was like, I really, really wish I had Play Anywhere because at least I could buy it in one place and be able to play it on my PC or play it on my PlayStation. And so I think in some instances that is a brag-worthy option. It's pretty dope to have those options. But for the sake of the console war, yeah, it sucks because you can say, "Oh, look, I got it on my I got it on my system here too." It's pointless. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think it's a brag-worthy feature to like normal people.
Right. I agree. I was always against Play Anywhere. Like it weakened the Xbox brand. Future is going with, you can see it. You got Nintendo putting these little games on mobile devices like iPhones and Android. You got PlayStation putting PS Now on PC. Like they're moving away from those like these console manufacturers are moving away from the isolation of just a console platform. You know what I'm saying? They may not be as bold as Xbox and putting their full-blown titles on the same day as release, but I just don't see them not doing it because the money is there. You know what I'm saying? Like Microsoft sees the money and they see the profit, and as a publisher and as a business, it's a booming business for them. They've clearly seen enough to have year over year. Their software has increased year over year. This is for a company that supposedly has no games. No one's buying. Their software revenue continues to increase year over year. That tells you something. So they must be doing something right because people keep buying stuff from them, and they have over 54 million Xbox Live users. Active, dormant, not like 100, just 54 million active people constantly on either Xbox or Windows 10 PC. And that's a big deal. So do I like it? No. I'm an old-fashioned, I'm an old dinosaur. I want exclusives only on that platform, isolated to that platform, because I think they give the platform identity, but it's a new generation. The times are changing. We're going digital. People are trying to expand and make more money. Games cost more to make, so they're trying to find any way to make this bread, which is pretty crazy to me. Let me see here. D21 exclusive. Shout out to D21. He says, I understand exclusives are important, but if you already invested with Xbox, wouldn't you value a good multi-plat over an exclusive?
No. I want exclusives. That's the whole reason why I play platforms. People are always like, oh, my favorite games are third parties. And a lot of my favorite games are third parties. But the reason that I go to a particular platform is because they're exclusives. Like, I bought a PS4 day one. I didn't play it until Bloodborne came out. It's set in the closet, and people were like, oh, you ain't got a PS4. I'll send out pictures on Twitter like, I got a PS4 sitting right here in the closet. Haven't touched it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't play it until Bloodborne came out because it was a compelling enough exclusive that I was like, oh, okay, I got to check that out.
Right.
Bloodborne and Order 1886 is the reason why I pulled my PlayStation out the closet and started playing it. So for me, exclusives matter. You know what I mean? They always have to me. You know, like you said, they kind of give the console the identity. And for the longest time, Gears, till this day, I mean, Gears is still my favorite Xbox game. You know what I mean? It was the whole reason why like I stuck with Xbox through the 360 generation and all the massive red ring of deaths that I had. You know what I mean? I kept going back because OG Gears was life for me. You know what I mean? I played that game until I couldn't play it anymore. And I was there for every release of Gears since it came out, even Gears 4. The fact that I didn't like it as much as, you know, the original series. You know what I mean? First day it came out, I completed the campaign and was going hard on the multiplayer just because I have that love for that game. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, exclusives matter. And as much as people try to downplay them or whatever, you know what I mean? You can't deny that they give the console the identity. And that's usually the reason that you went to that particular console. So many people play Xbox because of Halo. And that's the reason that they were introduced to Xbox was because of Halo. You know what I mean? So exclusives matter.
Right. I agree with that 100%.
What was the question one more time? Just go back.
D21 was asking, exclusives are for those. That's the wrong question. I'm sorry. Understands exclusives are important, but if you already invested with Xbox, wouldn't you value a good multi-plat over a exclusive? Your favorite game is Fallout.
Over 8 exclusives?
No, over just exclusives in general.
Oh,
would you favor, because you're invested with Xbox, would you favor the multiplats because of the Xbox One X over the exclusives?
That is a really tough question for me personally, because my general philosophies, I think exclusive games are generally are just subpar. I think a lot of people give exclusives a lot more importance over other games simply because, well, simply because they're exclusive. Yeah. Like, I think a lot of games I've played this generation across the board are decent games, mediocre or even to very good, but like 10 out of 10 status, no. They don't come that close.
In our lifetime that are 10 out of 10 though. You know what I mean? Like you can set the bar that high, but many games reach that bar.
Well, I mean, like, okay, what was when Horizon Zero Dawn came out, people were saying it's a masterpiece. It's like, no.
That's just because the game is beautiful. It's still one of the best games.
Because it's exclusive.
For the general, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Just like Rise. Rise looks freaking amazing. You know what I mean? To this day. It was an exclusive. You know what I mean? They honed in on the power. So, you know what I mean? Exclusives do matter.
Well, I'm not saying they don't matter, but at the same time, like I look at it as, to me, I'm just not interested in a lot of exclusive games that come out because I think they get a lot of passes and so don't get a lot of critical reception to it that's necessary for them to actually improve. I mean, look how long it took for Halo to like update some of the gameplay. It took way too long.
And to me. People still hate. There's so many people out there that hate Halo because of its new gameplay. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
To be OG, like when you fall in love with the game, you know what I mean. Like if you're the diehard, you know what I mean. You don't really want the game to change too much. I mean, you want some slight evolution there, but the reason why you fell in love with the game is because of the way it played originally. It's just like
but you got
Destiny now. You know what I mean? Like when you compare Destiny now to Destiny 2, like look at all the players that dropped off. And the game has been out for what, 3 months?
I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you gotta update with the times. You got people, you have a new generation of people that are coming in, kids that are now moving on to newer consoles or the next generation of consoles. They're growing up with these games. I'm not saying that classic mode where you go back to that style, but you try to compete. Coming out at the time, you had Titanfall, you got guys running on walls, everybody's able to grab and grip things. Call of Duty was doing it. Like, there's a lot of games out there where the shooters were changing. It was no longer a boots on the ground type of game, and in order to compete and stay with that, you had to be able to change the game. And it does make sense the way they changed the game. Master Chief is like basically a person in a human tank. You're a human tank in a way. You're in an armored mechanized suit. Be this super soldier. Dude, I couldn't even sprint in the original. You can't even run in the original Halo. You just walk. You get shot, you strafe. That was the basis of the game. You know, you walk and jump. Yeah. Capture the Flag was walk and jump. You know, you had vehicles to help you get around. I think that was the aspect that made it really great, because the vehicles is what really on his head. Not so much the shooting, but the vehicles, because you can hop in a Warthog and drive. You can hop in a Ghost. You can hop in a Banshee. Then you had weapons that could take those things out, like the Spartan laser or the Holman rocket launcher, the Mongoose with a person on the back with a SMG. Like that's what made those games great. And the big open maps. I think a lot of people get confused and lose sight of what the things that made it so amazing. It wasn't just the shooting combat. That could be any game. Any game can have shooting combat that's fun. It was the vehicles and the big maps that made it so special. The arena combat was great, but those maps and that open world aspect of, I won't say open world, but the large arena aspect and being able to shoot yourself across the map with the flag and shoot yourself across the map when you're playing team deathmatch or something like that, that really changed the game. So I think of it is something that was needed, but they could put a classic mode in for off subject, but I just wanted to touch on Halo because I see a lot of people crying about Halo because somebody recently left and he was like, he loves Halo Classic, and everybody hopped on that like that was like the quote of the decade.
Yeah. But yeah, for me personally, like I play more multiplayer than anything else. I mean, if push comes to shove, and like if I'm picking a game where it's like, okay, I'll use the example of Monster Hunter. I'm getting Monster Hunter on PlayStation because I got more friends are gonna play it on PlayStation this time around, so I'm gonna go play it on there. That's the only place I'm gonna play it as a result. Now, if it's a situation where I got to make a choice between my Xbox and PlayStation, and it's like a big single player game, yeah, I'll probably pick Xbox because of achievements, and it'll probably look the best on the X. But yeah, like if I'm choosing multiplats only, but I mean, it just because like one thing's got exclusives of the other is not going to dictate where I'm going to play my multiplats necessarily. So that's me.
It's crazy. Well, these guys got it popping in chat, but unfortunately, we're going to go ahead and come to a close. So if you have any last questions before we end the show for the year, go ahead and ask them now. Big shout out to D21 for stopping in, Edge XL, Doc Wiz, and Zedpo1, and Omega Zio, who's just causing a ruckus because he's just fanboying out with PlayStation. Listen, I ain't got nothing against PlayStation. I love PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? It just hasn't been as hype on it as everybody else's generation. That has nothing to do with me being an Xbox fan or anything like that. I just prefer the Xbox platform and interactivity when it comes to gaming. You know, that's just really what it comes down to for me. Some of the games are pretty cool. Some of the games I'm not into. So I like some of the new stuff they're putting out, much better than the older stuff. Hopefully they can continue that and continue to capture me and everything like that. But I really like what Nintendo's putting out, and I like the direction Xbox is going. And as an Xbox guy, I can't wait to see what they have in the future. What they have is going to be right up my alley. That's why I like Xbox the best. Let's see these final questions.
When's Cal gonna play Alien Isolation? I think it's a good question there.
I think that's it. These guys are just going at it in the chat. So listen, man, I want to thank everybody for stopping out. I greatly appreciate the support. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Tune in tomorrow for Iron Lord's done. This is the last show for the channel, right?
No, Iron Lord's got one show tomorrow night. Well, tomorrow morning, sorry.
Okay. So tune in tomorrow to Iron Lord Podcast for their final show for the year. We will return sometime in January, I believe the first week of January, with the new show for 2018. Tick Podcast has put a renewed focus out. You know, we've expanded, we've done a lot of things. We've brought in new talent to the network, a debate show. We brought in the ILR podcast, which really is a great group of guys that talk about a lot of multi-plat gaming, but they bring a sense of honor and comedy to their podcast. We got the Multiverse show going on. We got TICGN going on. We got and in all that growth, obviously Tick Podcast, the three of us, we've been doing a lot of things. You know, we have big roles within the TIC organization. And for us, as well as B Money having a new kid, me having my daughter, you know, we've kind of faded away from the things that we did great with Tick. And that's something that we vowed at the end of this year to get back to. Getting those great interviews, going to show whether they're Xbox or any other developer or executive, whether they're indie, whether they're AAA, getting back to those things, getting you guys the cool games that you like to see on the red carpet, bringing that show back. And, you know, I've been stuff like that about Super Pod Shots and whether to continue it on this channel or create my own channel because of people wanting more consistent opinions and comments from me, which I don't want to oversaturate this channel with, because we have such a great group of guys that deserve so much attention from the fans out there that love gaming and want a channel where they can just come listen to a great group of guys just talk and not really beef or argue or diss any other platform. So I want to thank everybody for stopping out once again. We will see you guys in 2018 with a renewed focus. Make sure you support TICGN.com. Make sure you support Multiverse, and make sure you support my man B Money on BRAP. I don't know why I'm promoting BRAP. That ain't even part of Tick, but B Money's on there. So make sure you go support B Money on BRAP. And once again, I'm your host, KLY SKLL, the last son of Planet Xbox, with B Money 101 and Anchorman V. And we are off this planet. You guys have a great Christmas and a great New Year. Look out for us on Twitter, because we made a few things. And if you haven't signed up on TICGN, we are doing a Sea of Thieves ultimate giveaway where you could win Sea of Thieves and a Sea of Thieves Xbox One controller for free from TICGN. So make sure you sign up at TICGN to get that. And that is a group special giveaway from the Multiverse team and the Double XP team. So once again, make sure you sign up there. Thanks for the support, guys. Appreciate the thumbs up. You guys have a great night. Peace.